Welcome to Strategic Insights Radio on Business RadioX, presented by True Source Funding. I am your host, Ken Tevis, and we are broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio in Duluth, Georgia. Now, every month on this show, what we do is we talk to strategic and influential people in the business funding industry that can give concepts and insight for business owners from startup to middle market to enterprise businesses, and give you good tips that you can use in growing your business or keeping your business growing and successful. So today, our guest is actually a good friend of mine and a business partner and an associate. We've done some good business together now for about a good year or so now. I want to welcome Mr. Cody Powell to the show. He is one of the executive operators and owners of Jenody Enterprises. Cody, how you doing, man?
Hey, Ken, I'd like to thank you for letting me on your show, and I'm doing great.
Good, man. Good. Good to see you. Good to have you here, man, and was able to catch you while you were in town here for a little bit.
Yes, I was here for a couple of days from the West Coast, handling some business, and got me at the right time.
All the way from Cali. Good stuff, man. Good. I'm excited, and we are live on Facebook. So all my Facebook friends, and people that want to get some good tips, definitely tune in live to Facebook. And I've also put the link where you can listen in live here. And we're going to just get right into it over the next 30 minutes and kind of talk about some good things that both myself and my good friend Cody here, what we've experienced during our time of being in the funding industry. And so I'm excited, man. We'll dial right in. But let's start off with just kind of giving us some of your background, Cody. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name's Cody Powell. I'm the COO of Jenody Enterprises. I deal mainly with commercial financing. Me and my wife started that company 2 years ago. We originally started in Georgia. We actually moved to California. I'm originally a Floridian, so go Gators. But yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a lot of learning and understanding.
Good, man. Good. You're a Florida kid, huh?
No, that's right. I'm a diehard Gator fan.
Good. And for those of y'all who don't know, so he is actually married to our other associate and business partner as well, Miss Jennifer Powell now. And congratulations to you guys, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And for those of y'all, again, who don't know, I'm standing on the shoulders of one of the greats, Miss Jennifer. She hosted this show for a good 5 years or so,
yes.
Right? And, her and her husband, they relocated out to California. And so, the studios are right here in Atlanta. And she gave me an awesome opportunity, which I gladly accepted. And it was actually to become the new show and host for Strategic Insights Radio. So shout out to Jennifer. Thank you so much again. And they happen to be in town. And I said, Cody, come on, man. Be my guest on the show. And glad you accepted, man.
And I'm excited to be here, too.
Absolutely. So we'll get into it, man. So you are one of the owners of Jenody, right? You and Jennifer together, you
yes.
guys run it. And so I know that's a lot, man, running a company and, all the things that come with that, building that foundation. Obviously you have in a wife and a partner, an excellent businesswoman with years of background and experience, but yet and still, when you guys decided to start Jenody, I'm sure you were like a little bit scared there at first, right?
Of course, but that's just part of wanting to be a young entrepreneur is taking risk and accepting either if you succeed or if it's failure.
Yeah.
But you always got to look at the greener side of things and take the information of, wow, I should have done it this way or that way, or I know better next time not to do it that way. And
absolutely.
Once you kind of get that mindset where you don't let your emotions really affect your outcome of your company, that's when you can really start to grow and understand.
You said something key right there, letting your emotions affect the outcome of the company, right? You gotta keep that focus. You got to keep that mindset of determination, because you're going to have good days, bad days, good deals, bad deals, right?
Right.
Sometimes that don't go the way you want them to go, but if you keep focused, you keep determined, you can have a thriving, successful company, right?
Yes.
All right. So tell me one of the key and crucial things for every business owner to understand, especially for someone that's looking to partner with another person, right? A lot of times as an entrepreneur, if you're out there by yourself, a lot of times it's more comfortable, but sometimes you need that partner, right? You need partners because we don't know everything. And so we need someone with strengths maybe to our weaknesses things like that. Tell me, what's good advice when it comes to having a partner in business?
When it comes to being a partner, a lot of it's got to come down to communication and understanding and listening.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because some people are going to be more skilled in certain fields than others. But that's where you got to have the understanding to neither, if you have a learning curve to catch up to them, or if they're behind and you need them to catch up to where they need to be in that partnership. And being patient and letting that time actually people learn and be the business partner that you need. And and another thing I agree with as well, you have to keep your personal with personal and your business with business, because when you're doing business, there's a lot to come into play. Someone's well-being could be based off that business, but if they make a poor decision, you could be their worst enemy. So you always want to have each other's back as well, but it's just business. You hope for the best, but it's not a perfect world.
One of the things that is very crucial, like you said, you have to understand what I call the power of agreement, right? And being in business, because you're not going to always agree on everything, but you can agree to even disagree, right? And
exactly.
And when you can do that, then knowing that the ultimate goal is a successful business, then you can still move forward to obtain that successful business. And so that's very key, very crucial in what you're saying from that standpoint. So tell me about some instances when it comes to foundational infrastructure. So I know one of your big pluses, right? And I've been honored to actually be an associate of Jenody, and we're coming together in partnership with our companies to do some pretty awesome deals and some fundings. I'm very excited about that, ladies and gentlemen. You'll be hearing some things come out in the press in the months and years to come with myself and Mr. Cody and Miss Jennifer. But tell me, when it comes to the foundational laying infrastructure, what do you recommend for businesses?
When you go into business, yes, you want to make a dollar, obviously, but it's more about what are you passionate about.
Okay.
And then you want to follow your passion. And when you follow your passion, you want to listen to people who, being a younger man that I am, my rule of thumb is, and the way that I've learned, is I actually listen to people who are older, and I believe age comes wisdom. So to me, I like to collect the wisdom from the older generations.
I love it.
And, obviously some information is going to be good and bad like anything else, but they can generally say, I've done this. This is my outcome, and this is what I would have done different. And you go, okay, that's cool. So, kind of to go back on what we were just talking about, you want to build that team around you who has that knowledge. And not only do you want a team that has knowledge, you want to have a business plan or your performa ready to go. And, you want to build it up. And another thing is you got to think of what's going to be the future goal of that company, because if you expand, it's a lot easier to already been approved for, any type of capital you needed to expand prior to then when you're almost to the end where it's like, make or break. Yeah. I need the capital now, because in the finance world there's just a lot of moving parts, so you just got to be ready. You always want to basically, if you have a 6-shooter, you always want to have one locked and loaded, ready
Absolutely.
to go, just in case.
Yes, sir. Love the analogy, the 6-shooter. Love it, man. So you said something very key, wisdom. I think we talked about that at the last show, and that is key, ladies and gentlemen, especially for my younger generations. Listen to wisdom. A lot of times we want to just jump on out, right, and invest all our money in Bitcoin, right, which is a business in and of itself. We want to just throw our dollars, where we hear all of the innovation is going and where investors are going. But when you actually first get people that know industries, they know investments, or they know about starting businesses, go get some wisdom, get the education on doing it, because that is the key to success right there. Anyone can have knowledge, but wisdom is knowledge with experience, right? So that's where you can obviously get right into it, and you can have more of a successful jumpstart, because the older ones, they've already, they failed. And got back up again. They made their mistakes. They can keep you teenagers, my teenage daughter that might be listening right now, they can keep you from making the same mistakes. I know she's probably embarrassed right now. Shout out to my daughter, Amina. I love you, baby.
Hey, Amina.
My 16-year-old at home that's listening right now. They can keep you. We can keep you from making the same mistakes. But no, seriously, yeah, that's one of the key things. And then you went on to say a couple things when it comes to even how you're spending your money. One of the key things when it comes to for business owners, like Cody was saying, is understanding 5 years from now where you want to be. And he mentioned a keyword called pro forma. Pro forma is very simple. It is projections of where you want the business to be. Do you want to be a millionaire in 5 years? Well, if so, what will it take to get there? How will you be watching your expenditures, right? Your expenses. You can't start off right away spending tons of money. You have to be careful on the type of money that you're spending to help your business grow. Don't walk away from your 9-to-5 job right away and jump out into owning a business. Grow the business until the business can pave the way for you to walk away from that job, right? So, those are just key and crucial things, Cody. I definitely agree when it comes to having the wisdom in jumpstarting and starting a business, and that can get you into the limelight of doing successful things. And side note, even thinking about the day and time that we're living in now, when the pandemic hit, ladies and gentlemen, if you are in business and you have a tax ID and you have been getting revenue, you're eligible for a lot of the government SBA funded loans that they're giving away. The two that come to mind is the Paycheck Protection Program. They call it the PPP for short, right? That you can get, I think they give you up to $100,000 per employee. But even if you're a one-man show, right, you can get up to about $100,000. Cody shaking his head, no.
Just,
correct me, man.
I was going to say, not to be
good.
the naysayer, but
it
also kind of, depending on what round you came in on the PPP, but most of it's going to be based off of a set amount of time and how much you're paying all your employees. And then that's kind of where they would cut your PPP to you. And, and of course, it comes down to your spending because it can either be a loan or a grant. But if spent correctly under the guidelines, then it's considered forgivable, and you don't have to pay it back.
There you go. So you can. It's money out there. Bottom line, it's money out there that you can get being a business owner, and especially if you have employees, the government is giving money to help your business out, especially during this time when the economy has slowed down a little bit in some industries. Right?
Yeah, restaurant industry, they're actually doing a lot of government, I guess, funding and assistance and grants and the stuff of that. For the restaurants. I actually know some friends in the Northeast who were hit extremely hard with the closures of all the restaurants, and now the government's like, okay, guys, like, sorry for keeping you shut down for 2 years, but here's some capital. Hopefully we can get you back to where you need to be.
Do you remember what that was called? I want you to put it on the spot, but they just released the restaurant
relief fund, I think.
I believe that's what it was called. Yep, for restaurants. At any rate, if you Google it, it'll come right up to the top. For all of my restaurant owners, even my people that franchise off, people that cater, if you're in that food industry, there's an initiative of capital that has been released from the government that you're eligible for. Be sure that you Google that, because if you don't know, if you're not in the know for that, you could be missing out again on great funding. And again, when you really start looking and you try to walk into a bank, or you try to go to where I talk to a lot of people because I'm in the alternative funding industry, those rates are going to be sky high. This is the time to get capital at low rates, literally as low as 1%. Government's not trying to and they'll forgive it, by the way. These are loans that they will forgive. So, these are just tidbits and tools that you guys can learn, my business owners out there in Atlanta and around the U.S., that can help you get to that next level, right, and grow your business as needed. Another one is the EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, right? Implemented. They have one specifically because of COVID, where, again, you can get capital for the business. You know a little bit about that one as well?
I do know a little bit, but I generally kind of when it comes to grant writing and stuff of that,
Yeah.
I don't want to push off my wife, but
Understood.
that's kind of Jennifer's field of work there. So
I get it. So yeah, with that one, the EIDL, I know they have the grant side, which goes up to 10,000, and then they have the loan side, actually, which was increased over about a month ago. You can get up to $500,000 in the EIDL loan. This always hits my heart for people that are listening to this and you're thinking, well, that's not me, I'm not eligible. You will never know until you try, until you at least give someone like myself or other business consultants in the local Atlanta area a call. And we can help guide you to where you can at least know what you can be eligible for right now, and then help you grow to the point of where you can get those additional funds, right? So you won't know until you at least try to pick up the phone, call someone that you know knows about the industry. And if you don't know anyone, well, guess what? You're listening to a couple of guys that know a little bit about the industry. And before we end the show, we'll make sure you have all of our contact information to be able to reach out to us. Good stuff, Cody, man. All right, so tell me about Tom Brady. I know
the greatest of all time, the GOAT. But we'll talk about that outside of here.
We'll talk about, okay, all right. He's a Brady fan, man. He's a diehard Brady fan, and I tell you what, he did some miraculous stuff. Even after that trade, he showed what he was made of, right?
They just show that brings back to the last point I made. With age comes wisdom.
Absolutely, man. Now, for those of y'all who don't know, and I don't mean to put Cody on the spot, but he's a young man. I call him a young prodigy, actually, because he's a wealth of wisdom, wealth of knowledge, but you're in your, late 20s, right?
Yes, I'll be 28 in July.
Okay. For all of you aspiring kids coming out of college, headed into the industry, it's possible. It's possible to get a jump start, because him and his wife, they have a thriving business doing really well all over the United States and internationally, right?
Yes.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. So I want to I'm just kind of coming off the cuff here. I'm thinking about business infrastructure. If I don't know, can you name drop any type of systems that a business owner can use? Just if they're like, hey, you know what, I'm getting started, I need something to kind of house my clients, my customers. What's a good tool that I can use?
To answer that question, I think of it more of data is actually one of the most expensive things. That's what a lot of these big corporations and stuff pay, because marketing and everything's based off data. So with that being said, when you're starting up, the goal is to collect all data, all communication, all emails, all just anything, all your invoicing, all that. So you kind of want to keep it all under a CRM and bookkeeping. Personally, me, I'm a big Zoho supporter. I think Zoho does a lot. I mean, you can do your CRM, your bookkeeping, you can invoice straight out, you can email. It's all HIPAA certified, so if you're in the medical or financing, it's a pretty good alternative.
Very good. For those of y'all who don't know about Zoho, I actually discovered it myself probably a good 4 years ago. I'm telling you all right now, for a customer database, you get so much. I'm putting in a plug for them, so you're welcome, Zoho owners. You get so much for a great monthly price or even annualized price that you can really use. And this is the same type of tool that million-dollar corporations are using for their businesses as well. So Zoho, Google it, and you'll see a plethora of tools that you can use, from CRMs to time cards, all kinds of things that they offer in their infrastructure. So just want to kind of drop that tidbit of knowledge out to you all. Good, man. So moving along. So what would you recommend from a standpoint of, tell me about the largest to the smallest type of deals that you've worked with over the years? Like, just don't be shy. I know you're $1 million man. Go ahead and tell it.
I mean, it really just kind of varies. I've helped mom and pops. I've had people who are, doing their 9-to-5s, and they just had a great idea, and then that great idea turned into an actual business, and now they're striving and succeeding. I've helped people who are, corporate businesses, and they're trying to do expansion, so we've been there for them as well. So realistically, there's really no, floor, and there's no ceiling to the limit of what we can do. A lot of it kind of depends on who you are, and that's where when the performa and all that comes into play, because the performa is going to be based off of the numbers, and usually they're based off statistics, which are actually the numbers of, hey, you have X amount of people, this is generally what you're going to make, and it's the point of it is it's projections, and the point of projections is to show you what you think you're going to make. So if you can show that you're going to make, say, $2 million in the next year or so, you can justify to get more money. But if you don't have that there, and you're showing you're going to obviously taking a loss, you're going to be considered, it's like a risk factor. Now you're considered high risk. So you're neither going to get denied, or you're going to have to go to high risk funding, basically, which will be higher, interest, maybe more on the down payment, more of a demand of payments on a more regular basis. It just, there's a lot that comes into play. And believe it or not, one thing a lot of people get mistaken, there's a difference between your personal credit and your business credit.
Come on, man. Yes.
So, it really just kind of varies on what route you want to go, because, there is different programs that are based off your personal credit, but there's a lot that are not based on it. And, if you have collateral, let's say if you're a trucking business and you have 10 trucks and you're ready to expand, well, you don't have the money to put down. Well, the good thing is you can also collateralize, some of the items that you own already for that business.
Yeah. Very good, man. Very good. Good key nuggets. Very good knowledge and wisdom. So, just to piggyback again off of what he was saying, especially when you're what I call starting at start, one of my good friends, and I call him my god brother, has that saying where you start at start with first things, and you're really looking to launch that business, right? Key elements: personal credit and business credit. Now, there's arguments out there that you can definitely have business credit without having great personal credit. I understand that, and more than likely that can be a true occasion. But in this country, a lot of times, you want to work on that personal. You want to have that in place. Why? Because it just makes things a lot more easier, right? When launching a company, if you've got at least, a lot of my programs that are more premier rates, great terms, if you've got at least a 680 and up, you can take advantage of a good, even personal loan that can help launch the business, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's lines of credit out there, people, just like a credit card, but for business that you can partake in. There's business credit cards, right? You do want to build the business side, and at the same time, you can build your personal credit. Definitely make sure you pay your bills on time. That's why I say, hey, don't live above your means when you first get started, right? Stay within your budget as you're growing the business. Don't go out and buy a mansion and a Bentley and you off of credit, even if you have great credit, because what you're going to have to do is maintain that level of living, right? You want to go get the nice things after you've put the work in. You got to put the work in order to get the good things. And so like Cody was saying, all of the details, right, where they say the devil's in the details, because that's what's going to show the bad things or the good things of what you're doing or not doing. Are you keeping track month over month, day by day of what your budget looks like? Try to stay under 10 to 20% of what you bring in from a revenue standpoint. And you have to start using words like revenue, because all the money that's coming in is not for your personal life, right? That's for the business. So you pay yourself from the business. I'm a believer in that. I'm a church going man, so I have things I set aside. I pay 10% for my tithes. Yeah, at church, but then after that, I set aside a good 10, 20% for myself as a paycheck to reward myself and for bills, right? So especially for you home-based businesses out there that a lot of it's mixed in together, you still want to make sure you separate the business from the personal, because if you're spending your business money and you're going back down to zero every month, well, guess what? In 12 months, what's the math on that? Still zero if you're spending all the money as it comes in. But if you're saving up, putting it into a interest-bearing business account, studying the different ways of how you can make your money work for you, then, as Cody said, you can do what's called a pro forma. Because after 12 months, if you've done good with your expenses and revenue, you can actually go to an investor. You can go to a SBA or a loan lender and show them what kind of good track record you've done. And guess what? They'll write you a check. And they'll write you a nice check for the remaining, you can use that to go even further into business. So again, good tidbits, good wisdom, Cody. Definitely appreciate you, man. So what else would you say, just from your heart, for business owners, that if you'd want them to know anything else about running a business or the structure of it? Because I know you're the structure man, and that's kind of what this main discussion is about today. Tell me what else you would let the people know.
Definitely come up with a game plan. I mean, that's obvious. But be ready to find an alternative to keep your eye on the goal and the success of your business. Because that. You can really say, man, I really hope it goes this way, but there's just so much factors in life, people, the economy, you just name it. There's things that can change what you're expecting to do with your company at that certain, frame of time.
Yeah.
So, I don't usually like to say, I always like to have, theoretically, from a football reference, I like to have my running play, my pass play, my play action play, and if it gets real bad, I'm going to pull the Hail Mary out. So
I love it.
I always have, generally, I always try to have the best interest. So the goal is this is what I think is best, and then you basically put it, side by side. This is this, and as in everything, it's the pros and cons of it all.
Yeah.
But the thing is, too, again, you just got to have a strong team around you because there's a lot of things I'm very good at and there's a lot of things I'm very bad at. So having those people to push me or pick up the parts where I may fall down, now I can keep up with everything. And the things that they may have been lacking on that I've showed them, now they're up to speed with it. So, and the good thing is we try to keep almost as an equal team, There's no real, oh, you're the best or you're the worst. It's more of, hey, we all come together, we all do our part to the best of our ability. And the goal is, as long as everyone keeps growing, then you should, the business should succeed. That's the main goal. So
absolutely. Something you said that was crucial again, a good team around you, right? Understanding, depending on what industry you're in, you always need to have people around you that I'd say honestly know more than what you know, right? Because a lot of times you may have the dream and you may have some knowledge, but you don't know everything. And so to have a good team around you that you can go to them for their expertise and they can together partner with you to push a company along is so key and so crucial. Because if you're kind of a one-man show, and don't get me wrong, I know it's a lot of you sole proprietors that are out there making it happen on your own, but again, kind of going back to the beginning of our discussion, if you have a partner or if you can take on someone that knows what you know or maybe knows something different from what you know, together, teamwork can make that dream work, right? You can get to the finish line. You can get to the promised land. And by the way, make sure that if you do take on a partner, you have your contracts and things in place, because sometimes things don't always work out and you have to go your separate ways, right? And sometimes that separate way doesn't look so pretty. So you want to make sure from a business side that you have your contracts in place like you do even with your clients and your customers. So you take on a business partner, make sure that in the beginning you guys understand where you're lined up with as far as for who does what, who's titled with what, if there's equity play in there, if there's whatever, when revenue comes in, hey, where's my cut, where's your cut, everybody kind of already knows what it is, as they say, from that standpoint. Man, Cody, it was awesome, brother. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure as always, Ken.
Coming in, man, and looking forward to making this go live. Good people, again, we're live on Facebook, so we'll be posting this. And then also, this is a podcast through iHeartRadio, so it will be posted through Business RadioX. The title is Strategic Insights, and so you Google that or you're looking for a good podcast to get a good advice. We'll be doing this show once a month. Good shout out to Mike Salmon. Thank you so much, sir, who's been great at helping us, and he's the producer of this show. And so we'll be back next month with a new guest, and we will be giving you more tidbits. And in the meantime, you all stay strong. Business owners, keep surviving. Keep doing what it takes to make your businesses thrive. True Source Funding and Jenody Enterprises, by the way. Can we give them real quick a good way to contact you, Cody?
Yes, all my information and email will be tied to this podcast.
Okay, good. So we'll post it on the podcast. If you can Google both, and also True Source Funding. Go to our website, truesourcefunding.com, and you'll be able to get my contact information. I am Ken Tevis, a.k.a. Kenny Ray Tevis. And again, you have been with us. We appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.